Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin rainbow chart and other macro Bitcoin and crypto indicators. So let's start off with fear and greed. And as you guys can see, we are really moving into this uptrend, greed working its way all the way back into the mid 80s. The only area really to pass is that was made in March, when Bitcoin was at its former all-time high around 74K. Now, as you guys maybe saw in the beginning, we are above 90. So we are still in this uptrend. You can see, yes, we do have a lower high here technically, but one of two things is what I'm looking for. Just in comparisons to 2019, if you guys may or may not know, in 2019, before COVID, there was another high that was made locally in that crypto cycle, and there's some similarities to what's going on here and here. But if we want this to truly be the rally where we get to the top, something around 100K, we'd be taking a look at greed staying up higher for longer. So just keep an eye out for that. Another thing to keep in your back of your mind for stocks and crypto is that there's something known as the presidential pump, and that there is typically a rally into the inauguration. This is just the average of all the other times there's been an election with what the markets have done. And then we go sideways for a bit, about half a year, and then rally. This sort of thing would fit in with the 4-year cycle, the Bitcoin rainbow chart that we're going to take a look at in a minute. So if this pump does go to somewhere between 90 and 100K, but we don't get an alt season, have no fear, we may still be, it seems like a while, another year away. And as we talk about alt season, and I know many of you guys are probably buying altcoins or Bitcoin mining stocks, or maybe you're just buying Bitcoin, something to consider again is the Bitcoin dominance cycle. And when Bitcoin dominance drops by quite a lot, that's when you're looking for really good gains in your alts. So as Bitcoin has been getting these new all-time highs, something that's been curious is that the alt season index is still chopping and making these higher lows and higher highs, and we're still in the higher low territory. So there are some altcoins like Doge and others that really ran, but I'll show you some of the ways that I'm looking for altcoins to get them at a discount. And for any of you people watching today, first time, and you're just recently getting into crypto, do know that the further we get into the Bitcoin rainbow chart cycle, further on into the cycle peaks when we're getting up into the yellow zone or higher, you are taking on increased risk. So if you've seen these exciting stories about crypto getting people 5x, 10x their money, just know that the longer you wait, or if you're feeling FOMO, the fear of missing out, you're not going to be buying in as much as you could at a discount at earlier times. So do know you're taking on increased risk. Of course, nothing I say here is financial advice, but let's look at the Bitcoin rainbow chart, and you guys can see we are up in that yellow zone. Now, a couple phenomena I've pointed out since the beginning of this channel is how each halving cycle, we go up one of these color zones. Okay, well, most recently in the green zone. And for the last number of cycles, we've been above the red zone into the highest red zone. Last time we only got to this reddish orange one. So since the bottoms are going up a color band and the tops are going down a color band, I've just said on this logarithmic regression scale, and by the way, a log scale goes by factors of 10. Regression means it goes out more to the side. But I've said that I'd be eyeing somewhere in this orange range. And the orange range, even if we took it out, let's say the top somewhere, Q1, you'd see the lows at 145K, somewhere around there, if not higher. So even if we don't get into the light orange area, or maybe just touch on it, and you can see here, let me move back just a bit. Let's go to December, okay? So we have the inauguration, early January sometime. Let's just say let's stay around New Year's. You can see that the lower orange band, okay, the one right above yellow, starts at about 113K, and yellow goes up to around that 100 to 110K area. Well, something we've been talking about for a while is all the convergences of these different indicators leading up to that mark. So for those of you guys who don't know, some of these indicators I'm talking about. I'm going to try to catch you up to speed. Subscribe if you want to learn about these things. I try to use some of the most simple indicators I can, but we do have this Fibonacci retracement. When you're looking at macro data, you can draw from the high to the low. When you're looking at price predictions, you take it off log scale. Cool, great. We're all on the same page there. So when we converge these factors together, we've been talking about this for a while, how the 1618 fib extension goes to around 100K. Yes, 102K, give or take, whatever. We have this trend line from the two Bitcoin tops from 2021 leading to this area. We have this trend line, which Bitcoin has now finally come back to. We've been wondering about that for a while. We have this trend line since the bottom Bitcoin's been in love with, and I try to draw it as good as I can leading up to this area. They all converge upon the time where we have the average from the amount of days from a new all-time high, that's this yellow vertical line, to the peak. So what I mean by that, in the past cycle, you see here in 2017, Bitcoin made an all-time high around 20K right here. When we were making new all-time highs here, if you just take the average from all the new all-time highs from previous cycles, that averages 300 days. That's at the end of this year, almost to the inauguration. So one of the theories has been that maybe Bitcoin gets up to around this 100K price, and then we see what happens. Okay, so something to look out for right there. If we go over to just the daily chart, again, you shouldn't be buying in right now if you're just getting into crypto, and here's why. You're not getting any of a discount. You're buying in an all-time high. So there are going to be pullbacks, and you're not likely to see your gains really pay off in the near term. You're taking on a giant risk. So I'm going to keep saying that. If Bitcoin does come back down to this trend line, you can see somewhere around 84K. But again, we're looking for that 100K mark up here. You can see the double top trend line goes somewhere like 97K. And then we have the 1618 at around 102, the Bitcoin trend line 92. So if we're going to keep pumping into the end of the year, and Q4 tends to be bullish, don't be surprised to see Bitcoin get up into the close to the 100K region. We're already above 90K. What else has happened? Bitcoin dominance continues to shoot up and make new highs. So some people are wondering if 60% was the top. Well, Bitcoin dominance has already gone up to 61%. And I've said that, one of the things I'm looking for is that, like last cycle, after Bitcoin dominance peaked, and you can see the date here at the bottom, it peaked in September 2019. Again, we were talking about the possible top before the COVID dump that happened last time. When Bitcoin dominance peaked, this is also when Ethereum Bitcoin pairing bottomed, and we haven't for sure peaked yet or bottomed yet on ETH Bitcoin. Those two things need to happen in order for us to really start getting set up for alt season. But something happened both last cycles, the one before and this most recent one, is Bitcoin dominance formed a base, and we haven't formed a peak yet. And you can see here was alt season, and the time from there to alt season took a while. So who knows if it's going to take a while again, if it's something that's going to happen in 2026 or whatever. Again, predictions, all that stuff doesn't matter. I'm just showing you some of the things that happened last time. And what matters more is having a strategy, having a plan. So no matter what happens with dominance and a price action, that you're still going to make money. Making money is more important than being right on predictions. So do try to have a good plan so you're getting a good discount. So 2016, 2017, you can see there is still a base. Bitcoin dominance peaked and then fell. And so one of the areas I was looking at, 62%, just a lot of convergence within the trend lines here, even some bottoming and topping back here. That would be around 62%. And you can see where the peaks of the last cycle came up to a similar area as a cycle before. All right, where do I want to go here next? Let me show you this, and I'll go to the Tether dominance. So by the way, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're hearing about Bitcoin dominance for the first time. You're like, what the hell is that? So Bitcoin dominance, this means that 61% roughly of all money that's in crypto is in Bitcoin. So let me repeat, 61% of all money in crypto is in Bitcoin. That's what that means. Okay, when we go back to Bitcoin, okay, we're just going to take a look at the last cycle and what happened. There's a mid-cycle top, similar to what we had in March. And as you can see here, there's this downtrend. It broke out, and then it came back to it, had a landing. So I've been wondering if something similar is going to happen. We've had this downtrend. It's breaking out. Are we going to get back into this range and have one final landing? Something to consider. Or, maybe it's just going to come back down to the former all-time highs in the top of this channel. Like if we were to extend this channel out, try to draw that as good as I can. I can correct it later. Maybe it's only going to come down to the top of that channel. We'll see, because COVID, black swan event, not necessarily going to happen this time. Something else for you guys to consider, and this has been happening literally this last week, is that here's the Tether dominance line. Tether is a stable coin and always retains a value of 1. Right now, 4% of all money in crypto is in Tether. And what that means is it is a risk on time. It's risk on time. People are, their money's flooding into the markets. But what you can also see when we draw this trend line is that every time it takes this Tether dominance line has been a local top, whether the 2017 cycle top, the 2019 mid-cycle top, the top before COVID. Okay, remember we had the mid-cycle top and then we had this other top and then boom, shot away. The double top in 21 and then this mid-cycle top we recently had just now. So we are on this line. So do watch for us to move away from this. And that doesn't mean that Bitcoin price is going to go down that much lower per se. But what this can mean is that if we are to bounce off this Tether dominance line, it will become more risk off for the riskier assets, such as your altcoins, such as the mining stocks. So, we see Ethereum right here getting up to 3,300K, encountering some resistance at this 618 Fibonacci line. We might just be seeing lower highs in the altcoin market. So do be mindful of this Tether dominance. Hate to be the one that called it, say that, hey, we might be topping soon, but whenever we've hit this Tether dominance, there has been a top in the near future. Now, to play devil's advocate, yes, we had this top where we briefly touched the Tether dominance line and went away. And yes, I know my trend line is dog crap right now. But keep in mind, there was also the time in early 21 where we stayed on that Tether dominance line. So if we can stay on this Tether dominance line longer, then you're going to see the price go up. Personally, I don't see the Bitcoin dominance indicators going off for me yet, that we are just going to start dropping off, that there's going to be that massive rotation right now into altcoins, at least quite yet. I'm still looking for that bottom to form. And if we do go over to ETH/Bitcoin, and let's just take a look at that. Okay, possible bottoming here. So if we are looking for a bottom in ETH Bitcoin pairing, remember last cycle, the bottom of this coincided with the top of dominance. If we are going to see this bottom, we'll probably see Bitcoin dominance top sometime soon. So this is just Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. And when this bottoms, which maybe it's doing, let's take a look at the daily. Okay, it looked like maybe it started to. Let's see what happens on this down move. If it keeps making lower lows, forget about it. But if this makes, if it goes sideways or makes a higher low, then we can start talking about that. We can also add on moving averages as well. You can see it got up to the 100-day moving average and then got right underneath the 50-day. So if it can start staying above these moving averages, I'd say that's pretty good for a possible bottom as far as that's concerned. So guys, the news, it's great. Bitcoin has been doing great. Some of the altcoins, some are doing great. Some of the miners, we've been talking about mining stocks on this channel for a while, doing great as well. So feeling good about that. But again, be cautious just because it's Tether dominance. I wouldn't be shocked to see Bitcoin get up to this 100K area, going back over to the Bitcoin rainbow chart. If we are to rally to New Year's Eve, again, and stay in that yellow box, maybe we get into that 100K. You see the yellow box, 85 to 113. So maybe we get somewhere in there. And I think there's a lot of signs pointing to a lot of convergence happening between the 90 to 100K area. So all because Bitcoin hits 100K does not mean that is the end of the cycle as it's been before. Again, I'm looking for somewhere in the orange box. That might still be a ways away. And if it is, some good discounts in the future could come back again. So if you're worried about missing out, take a deep breath. It's important to spend time in the market. I always talk about just trying to spend a few minutes every weekend looking at some of these charts and looking for those deals, because if you're just coming in now, it is a really I would say bad time to just start getting in. You're taking a giant risk. I cannot say that enough. So, yeah, maybe we're going to see 100K soon. We'll see what happens with the alts. I still think there's a ways to go for alt season, but we'll get more into that maybe in a live stream this Friday. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But yeah, this is my goal, 100K by the end of this year. And then I would not doubt if we saw a little bit of a correction before the true pump. And we'll close out with this. This has happened a couple times. Well, every time there's been double tops. This one was just a lower high, but we had a double top last time. The first two cycles, there's a high and then a much higher high later. So maybe we're going to get something like we got back here in 2013, which to me looks more typical for crypto. 3 of the last 4 cycles, we've had double tops with half of them being a second high. So that's what I'm sticking to. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.